Hello, hope you're doing well. Before we get started with today's artwork, just a quick bit of context. The piece featured in today's video was made as an official merch design for The Story of High Hopes, Low Rolls, which is an original D&D inspired animated series that myself and a couple of very talented friends have been working on, trying to retell the story of our in-game campaign. All of the episodes we put out so far are in a playlist that you can watch right here on my channel, and the finished artwork from this video is already available to buy from our store as a print or anything else you might fancy. There are going to be links for all of that stuff both on screen and in the description if you'd like to check them out, and if you do, we'd really appreciate it. Any support that the series gets gives us more ability and motivation to keep working on new episodes. Anyway, that's the context, now let's get into the artwork. Alright, hello everybody, and welcome to another installment of the High Hopes, Low Rolls tarot card series. I'm trying to make one of these tarot designs to go along with each episode of the animated series that we put out. Last time we had the big bad dragonborn villain Hydrasil as the Devil Arcana for the prologue, episode 0, and today I've got Paddy Whitlaw here for episode 1, which told the tale of his backstory and introduction to the world of High Hopes. If any of you guys aren't already aware, Paddy is a character that I have drawn a couple of times before on my channel because he is my D&D character. Paddy is the character that I play in the tabletop campaign of High Hopes, Low Rolls, which is what we base the animated series on. And for this set of tarot artworks, where we are assigning different characters from the series, from our campaign, to different cards, Paddy's design falls to number 19 of the Major Arcana, which is the Sun. The Sun card, just like any tarot card, can have a whole bunch of different meanings depending on how you interpret it. But the reason why I felt like it was an appropriate choice for Paddy is because, largely, on the positive side of things, it's a card that represents joy and fun and, apparently, successful journeys, which is something that I only found out while I was checking my tarot facts to make this video. And if you've watched The Story of High Hopes, Low Rolls, you'll know that those are all things that kind of tie in with Paddy as a character. I'm gonna try not to spoil anything here in case you haven't seen the episode yet, but spreading joy and having fun are part of the reason that Paddy sets off into the world in the first place, and the journey he goes on ultimately leads him to meeting the rest of the High Hopes characters, as well as avoiding some misfortune. So, you know, I definitely call that a success. I like to think that Paddy's got very, Jack Frost from Rise of the Guardians kind of vibes. I think that's the best way to describe it. So again, considering all of the fun and joyful aspects of this card, it seemed like the kind of thing that would suit him pretty well. But like I said, all tarot cards have multiple meanings, and while it's generally a really positive symbol, when it's reversed, the Sun card can also represent sadness and negativity, which is also something that Paddy has definitely had his fair share of. Although, to be fair, most Dungeons & Dragons characters have also had their fair share of bad times, because people with happy backstories are rarely driven to the adventuring business. The Sun card is probably my favourite tarot card, or at least it's one that holds a lot of meaning to me personally because of all of those things it represents. So it was really nice to be able to do Paddy for this card, because obviously he means a lot to me as well. Now, for all of you nerds out there looking for some tasty game info, in terms of in-game character class, Paddy is an arcane trickster type rogue, which basically means he is very sneaky, he wears a lot of leather, and he does a little bit of magic. He's a ton of fun to play in-game, and it's also been really fun in the show figuring out how to actually animate his magic, as well as the magic of other characters. I've mentioned in speed paints before how much of a firm believer I am in the power of aesthetics when it comes to trying to give a character a clear sense of personality, but in particular that can also be really handy to bear in mind when it comes to doing magic effects. For instance, it's all well and good to have every wizard or sorcerer producing the same Harry Potter lightning effect when they cast a spell, but it is so much more interesting when a character's magic actually reflects something about the character themselves. Give it some personality, give it some flavour, this spellcaster needs some seasoning. Anyway, so in the spirit of all of that, a lot of the time when I draw Paddy using his magic, it kind of manifests itself in the form of autumn leaves, because that's kind of a defining feature of his character design. I think I mentioned that in the Crown of Madness speed paint I did a while back, and you can see it as well in the series that his autumn theme also ties in a bit with his backstory. Character design is like onions in that way, it's all about layers. Anyway, that leaf motif also worked out really nicely with the kind of aesthetic I wanted to go for with this sun card design. Obviously in contrast to the devil card we did last time, which was quite dark and sinister and brooding, I wanted the artwork for the sun to be bright and warm and happy looking. And the first thing that came to mind for that was like golden hour in harvest time. Any photography students or photographers in general might have a better idea of what golden hour is off the top of your head. It's pretty much just the point in the day a little bit before sunset where the daylight takes on a lovely golden glow and everything is just really nicely lit up for a while. What a nice colours, it just makes everything look really pretty. Much like with the weaponry that I put into the design for the devil card last time, I want to keep on incorporating elements into these tarot compositions that kind of cross over the edges of the frame that goes around the border of the artwork, and that overlap the banner at the bottom a little bit, because it just makes everything look a bit more involved and interesting and adds kind of an extra layer of depth. In this case, again, I wanted to follow along with Paddy's autumn theme and that whole golden hour idea, so I drew some wheat and generally autumnal looking plants at the bottom of the picture that would fit in nicely with the overall yellow, brown and orange palette of the piece. It's normally a good idea to try and add a bit of colour contrast to your artwork though, so to make sure that the whole piece wasn't overwhelmed with yellow, I coloured the background with a sunset purple kind of shade. Because purple is opposite yellow on the colour wheel, it means that when you put them next to each other in a picture, they can kind of help each other to stand out. Now, this is the point in the video where I would normally go into a bit more detail about the painting process itself, but since I drew this piece at the same time as the devil card last year, I actually can't remember the process all that well. I know I was going for a watercolour kind of look, because I wanted this series to feel traditional, but looking at this footage again now, all I know is that I do at least want to revisit this art style because it's really pretty. I think I just don't have a lot of time to work on really involved pieces like this very often, so I don't get as many chances to practice it and commit the technique to memory. Having said that, I am really looking forward to doing the next artwork for this tarot series as soon as we have the next episode of High Hopes put together. But like I said, it's also been a hot minute since I drew this one, so I'm just really hoping that I can keep the art style at least somewhat consistent. I'm gonna try my best, and we'll just have to wait and see how that pays off. And this might be a slight tangent, but I'm happy to say that I get a lot of comments from you guys across almost all of my videos whenever I upload, asking when the next episode of the High Hopes animated series is coming out. And it's always really motivating to see that you guys are still excited, still looking forward to seeing the next part of the story. I just want to take a moment here, I guess, to reassure you guys who have been asking that production on the next episode is indeed still underway. We've been working on episode 2 ever since episode 1 came out, but life has just gotten in the way at multiple points, which has unfortunately slowed things down a little bit. From the fact that I had to have surgery at an unexpected time last year, to other members of the team having stuff going on in their lives, and now the whole world having stuff going on, we're just kind of trying to get on with work on the episode around all of these things that sort of keep happening around us. It's also worth bearing in mind we are a really small team. I think I've mentioned it in videos before, but literally all of the visual elements and editing for the prologue and episode 1 were done by 2 people. I'm glad to say that we've got 2 more very talented sets of hands on deck for this next episode, and I'm very excited for you guys to see the work that they've done. But again, there's just not a lot of us, and we want to make sure that every moment of every episode is the best that we can possibly make it, because this story means so much to all of us. So yeah, although it does take a fair amount of time for us to put an episode together, we're really hoping it's going to be worth the wait. We hope you guys are going to enjoy it, and we are indescribably grateful for your patience in the meantime while we work on getting everything finished up. But yeah, the bottom line of all of that anyway is that episode 2 of High Hopes is coming along nicely. We're getting more work done on it every day, and we are all really excited to share it with you guys. It's going to be a really good one if I do say so myself. So keep an eye out, there will be an update on this channel as soon as we know when we're going to be able to release it. And this might be another slight tangent, but in the meantime, if you are craving some more High Hopes content, or D&D content, or just some general nerdy fun, there is actually an entire other YouTube channel that you should probably go and check out. The channel I'm talking about is called The Shrieking Wizard Co. I'm over there, all of my friends who work on High Hopes are over there, and we're putting out a bunch of collaborative content over there every single week, such as podcasts, games, and speed paints, as well as plenty of other creative content involving all of the lovely, talented people on the team. So if you're looking for some more fun videos to enjoy, I'd recommend heading over there. If you would like to get a print of the finished artwork from this video, head over to our Redbubble store, and if you would like to check out the story of High Hopes Low Rolls, whether for the first time or the 100th time, head over to the High Hopes playlist on my channel where you can watch the entirety of the story so far. Links for all of those are going to be on screen in just a minute, as well as in the description of this video, but first things first, let's take a look at the finished artwork. Alright, well, thank you very much for joining me for this video. I'm glad I finally had the chance to put this video together, actually, because I've had this footage sitting on my computer for way too long. Anyway, thank you again very much for tuning into this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll look forward to seeing more High Hopes content as and when we can get it out to you, both over here and on the Shrieking Wizard Co channel. And, of course, I hope to see you all again next time.